along with some other famous faces from the 40s.
But I never did.
Mae Questel created the voice of the original Betty Boop.
Yeah, what a lucky girl. I always had a high-pitched voice. I won a contest, and bingo, I was signed that night, and it was a big thrill, and I loved doing Betty Boop. But I still got it, Eddie. Boop, boop, be-doo. Boop, boop, be-doo.
We come in, we're going to help you sort them out.
That's right. Tonight, you have free passes to a special preview of this year's bumper crop out of Hollywood.
And not only will we show you what's going to be on the screen, we'll also take you behind the scenes, too.
And we'll fill you in on the latest Hollywood gossip and the newest studio tour.
So buckle up for a high-energy tour of the films that are going to make your summer even hotter.
We'll show you everything you can expect in films this summer, from the biggest
Happy New Year!
Bosom to the smallest. The Flash and the Dash. We'll show you who's back.
Who are you gonna call?
Nazis. I hate these guys.
Guys like you don't die on toilets.
Who's new.
Albert Einstein.
And how you'll see some familiar faces in some unfamiliar roles.
You can call me Joker.
You call this archaeology?
We'll show you who's got the effects.
Nick, what happened?
Who's got the action.
You're too stupid to have a good turn.
And who's got the laughs.
Don't put any of those old cheap moves on me.
No.
It's different.
I have all new cheap moves.
Plus, you'll meet James Bond's latest evil nemesis.
You're having a Bond now who is much more real, and therefore I think your adversary has to have that same weight.
Find out how William Shatner really took control of the bridge in Star Trek: The Final Frontier.
I would gently suggest something I've always wanted to say.
And discover why the hottest new Hollywood tour is in Florida.
I hereby declare the Disney MGM Studios theme park open.
You'll meet the stars.
When I found out that it was a bouncer with a degree in philosophy, that got my juices going.
The directors.
People love him, and they want to see more of him in the same leather jacket and fedora hat. And so do I.
And two of the most unlikely gossip terrorists to ever dish the inside Hollywood dirt.
Like drugs, infidelity, facelifts.
So join Jan Carl and John Major for your own exclusive front row seat at the Summer Movie Spectacular.
First came the Magic King.
Want to be.
We'll be right back with more of the Summer Movie Spectacular after these words from your local stations.
On Wednesday, May 24th, Paramount Pictures invites you to have the adventure of your life.
Dad! Dad!
Keeping up with the Joneses.
Are you crazy? Don't go between them! Go between them! Are you crazy?
Harrison Ford. Sean Connery.
You call this archaeology?
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Rated PG-13. Starts Wednesday, May 24th at theaters everywhere.
Great thing. Time.
Boogie, boogie, boogie!
From Stephen King, the modern master of terror.
Where's your sense of humor?
3 bedtime stories. A delightfully devilish adventure. James Woods, Drew Barrymore. Stephen King's Cat's Eye.
Tuesday at 8 on Fox 33.
Take a look at that dive. I told you there was more to summer than just girls in bikinis.
Yeah, guys in bikinis.
No, not just that. I mean, you know, the action, the adventure, the excitement of summer.
Well, that's the way Hollywood likes its summers, and it's a season of spectaculars, you know, the kind with huge casts and lots of action and adventure and budgets bigger than some small countries, you know, real Cecil B. DeMille kind of stuff.
Well, if you're a fan of that kind of movie, this is the summer you've been waiting for. a box office Batman? That's right, the Caped Crusader has once again emerged from the Batcave to try to save the free world from the most outlandish villains.
Vicky Vale.
Hi. Bruce Wayne.
And what do you do for a living?
Michael Keaton stars as Batman, but the casting pick of the year is his arch enemy, the Joker.
I'd like you to handle this operation personally. Me?
Lieutenant, is there a 6-foot bat in Gotham City?
But don't think this is anything like the old TV series. For one thing, the campiness has been replaced by a true heart of darkness. What's more, the movie's budget is reported to have run near the $50 million mark.
Jack is dead, my friend. You can call me Joker.
This is so wrong. Oh, this is grade A U.S. government green.
It may not be the Batmobile, but Pink Cadillac will be hitting the road this summer, too, starring Clint Eastwood and Bernadette Peters. This Warner Brothers film is a comedy at heart, but with a little romance, a lot of fun, and more than enough action to satisfy the most die-hard Eastwood fans.
You're too stupid to have a good time.
Patrick Swayze is back this summer, too, in Roadhouse. Swayze plays Dalton, a college-educated bouncer in a backwater juke joint. He's about as tough as they come these days, and this film has more fight scenes per foot of film than anything this side of a Sugar Ray Leonard bout.
If somebody gets in your face, I want you to be nice.
Don't be rude.
Ask him to walk, but be nice.
Help this gentleman to the door.
Until it's time to not be nice.
So says the fighting philosopher.
If I'm going to do an action movie or a pro-violence movie, through my performance, I'm going to make it an anti-violence movie. If I'm being destroyed, people are going to see that's not too cool. That's not a good direction to go in your life.
That's it, Patrick. That's it.
Swayze goes face-to-face with so many redneck thugs in this film, he ends up looking something like a middle American version of Bruce Lee.
Lock with the left hand. Lock again. Fine.
It may not be Dirty Dancing, but Roadhouse required at least as much choreography between Swayze and the numerous stuntmen who play bad guys.
Cross block?
I don't know if there's been a movie about a bouncer, but then when I found out that it was a bouncer with a degree in philosophy, that got my juices going. That made me think, well, I better look more at this. I better read the script.
Kelly Lynch plays Swayze's local girl love interest, Doc.
It's a real, like, love at first sight kind of story. I believe it's the same way for Dalton. We have an absolutely wonderful love scene that I'm so happy with. I think may go down in history because it's beautiful, it's sexy, it's hot, it's loving, it's funny. Pretty great stuff. 2 pages, taking 4 days to shoot. You can't miss.
And just in case you were wondering, yes, there is a plot line here, pitting Swayze against the town's brutal and greedy big boss.
Hey, I had it under control.
From the upbeat action adventure to the dark side, Michael Douglas heats up the summer with the action thriller Black Rain. Douglas is back on the screen for the first time since Wall Street. This time he plays a New York City detective who must deliver a brutal killer to police in Japan. Along the way, he has to face down the Japanese version of the mafia, the Yakuza. Lockup stars Sylvester Stallone as a prison inmate who battles against a vicious and ruthless warden, played by Donald Sutherland.
Welcome to Gateway, Leone. We've been waiting for you.
And it's not only the warden he fights, but a number of sadistic guards and some very tough inmates. It's vintage Stallone. For non-stop action, adventure, and sex appeal, it's hard to top everybody's favorite spy. For the 16th time, he's back, he's bad.
Sweet dreams you can't resist. N-E-S-T-L-E-S. A dream as sweet as this. N-E-S-T-L-E-S. Dreamy wine. Alpine wine. Nestle makes the very best.
right back with more of the Summer Movie Spectacular after these words from your local station.
You call this archaeology?
The aliens have landed, and there's something about them we don't know.
No!
Now the trouble is about to begin.
My partner is dead.
Get the boat!
Prepare yourself for the arrival of Alien Nation. Coming to video cassette.
Michael Myers has escaped from Richmond.
Oh, God.
Halloween 4, the return of Michael Myers, now on video cassette.
You don't need a love song to fall in love again. You don't need a memory to bring it back again. You don't need another honeymoon to make a moment great. All you need is a way for you to celebrate.
Café Francais, a creamy coffee from General Foods International Coffees.
Celebrate the moments of your life.
You know, filmmaking really is an odd business. On the one hand, it prizes creativity and innovation, and yet on the other hand, when it finds a successful formula, it'll pound it out for as long as it can. This really is the season of the sequel. I mean, besides James Bond, everyone this side of Howard the Duck is enjoying a rebirth this year.
Bird of prey bearing 105, Mark II.
Let me do something. Mr. Sulu, full ahead.
Transfer power to warp drive. Warp speed now.
I'm gonna get some help, man.
Hey, no way.
Come on, let's try to keep this quiet, okay? Hey, sure. Hey, trust me.
We're the best, we're the beautiful, we're the only Ghostbusters.
The studios figure that if it worked once, it'll work again, and again, and again in some cases. And this summer, you'll see the most Roman numerals this side of the Super Bowl with Ghostbusters 2, Lethal Weapon 2, Star Trek 5, The Karate Kid 3, Eddy and the Cruisers 2, and perhaps the most anticipated one of them all, the third go-round of Steven Spielberg's B-movie reincarnation, Indiana Jones.
Dad? Junior? Don't call me that, please.
We found a great character, Indiana Jones. He's a wonderful character, and people love him, and they want to see more of him in the same leather jacket and fedora hat. And so do I.
But The Last Crusade is likely to live up to its name. According to Spielberg and producer George Lucas, Indy will be hanging up his fedora for good after this one. And since Spielberg was not that happy with the last Indiana Jones adventure, even though it grossed more than $100 million, he thought it was too dark of heart. He's taken special care to make sure that the Harrison Ford character eases off into retirement in the most grandiose fashion.
Well, just another day at the office.
It sort of is a reunion for an adventure.
And many of the characters from the first two films are back again. But there's one highly notable addition, Indiana's father, played by Sean Connery.
You call this archaeology? Get out of there, Dad!
The real thing that sets this one off is the search for the father. And it's sort of a search for the past, Indy's past, and his relationship with his father. So it's a new twist.
There are certain people who just click together. They become partners. And something clicked about the relationship and the compatibility between Harrison Ford and Sean Connery in their characters and their parts. They just play very well off each other.
With Raiders of the Lost Ark, we set a pattern for what these movies were going to be. Action, adventure, comedy, and giant globe-trotting locations.
The budget on Last Crusade was $36 million, and looks it. Locations in countries around the globe were used, including Spain, Italy, Jordan, the American Southwest, and a massive studio facility in England, where some of the movie's most impressive special effects were shot. To the delight of cast and crew, as well as audiences.
The quest for the Grail is not archaeology. It's a race against evil.
Germany has declared war on the Jones boys.
Those people are trying to kill us.
I know, Dad!
It's a new experience for me.
Happens to me all the time.
Of course, if you really want to talk sequels, you have to talk Star Trek. The newest film is the 4th sequel to the original, which in itself is a sequel of the TV series. In this latest installment, The Final Frontier, the whole crew is brought back together again, but with a difference. This time, William Shatner has a dual role. Not only is he Captain Kirk, he's also the film's director.
Greetings, Captain.
We'll need all the power you can muster, mister. Spock, my only concern is getting the ship back.
In The Final Frontier, the crew of the Enterprise journeys to the very center of the universe. It promises to be an exciting and lucrative trip. The last 3 Star Treks have made $270 million. Star Trek may be the ultimate 21st century fantasy, but when he's away from the bridge, William Shatner prefers a more 19th century mode of travel. Shatner attributes the Star Trek successes to an ability to cut across age and cultural differences.
I think we touch upon mythological needs that gives it a universal appeal, so that the strange people in Iran watch it as well as people in Westwood. You know. There is a similarity between those two. I'm not quite sure what it is.
In this installment, Captain Kirk takes the helm on both sides of the camera. It was Shatner's first try at directing a feature.
I made a determination before I started that I was going to enjoy everything about it. And so I have. I lost it in a few moments here and there as we fell behind schedule, but when we came back on schedule, I began to enjoy myself again. I guess that anxieties, those tensions that other people put on you are among the harder things about directing. And if you can survive that, you can make a film.
Shoot him!
I've known everybody there, of course, for so long. I always was reticent about suggestions that I might have had that I thought, you know, might improve something or other. Whether it would have improved it or not, I would hang back, because you can't do that on a social basis with fellow actors. Given the position of being able to do that as a director, I would gently suggest something I've always wanted to say.
To get away from the pressures of acting and now directing, Shatner raises American saddlebred show horses. Most of them are at his Kentucky ranch, but he keeps a few with him in Southern California.
As a performer, accustomed to audiences, there's such a similarity between show business and show horse business that it's astonishing. I mean, here's the prima donna, the horse, you know. It's like a ballet. I mean, the riders support the ballet, the ballerina, and show her off to the best of our ability, this beautiful entity. But there's all the tensions, all the anxieties, all the fears, the same as this opening night.
Despite the long-standing nature of Star Trek, Shatner feels he made his own mark on this one.
I think that the subject matter, I think the way it's done, the staging, the energy behind it, I think I've left an imprint, yes, good, bad, or indifferent. And if you don't like it, it's me, and if you do like it, it's me as well.
Summer means vacation, something everyone but maybe Chevy Chase looks forward to. And a great way to vacation is to mix movies and other attractions. Now, we've already shown you the newest studio tour. Let's pay some equal time to the original Universal Studios Hollywood.
The Universal lot is one of the oldest, dating all the way back to...
You're a very thick woman.
Thank you. Not only are there wacky things, there's zany things, nutty things, and kooky things, all jammed together in the same movie.
From the big screen debut of Weird Al Yankovic to the return of America's favorite spirit blasters, this promises to be a summer of odd, if not oddball, comedies.
All right, suck in the cuts, guys. We're the Ghostbusters.
I'm very happy that people get excited about it, but it's not major stuff, you know.
It looks like a giant Jell-O mold.
I hate Jell-O.
Oh, come on. There's always room for Jell-O.
Happy New Year.
Hose 'em.
For the most part, this will not be remembered as Hollywood's golden summer of comedy. More than any other category, this season's comedies are an uneven bunch, with an abundance of small, mostly forgettable films. In a summer in which a larger than usual number of blockbusters will be fighting it out, the only comedy that's of that status is the obvious one, Ghostbusters 2.
2 in the box!
The film brings back the entire original cast, including Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Sigourney Weaver, Harold Ramis, Rick Moranis, and Ernie Hudson, and director Ivan Reitman, in the sequel to the highest-grossing comedy of all times.
Ghostbusters 2.
It's just like in real life. It's been 5 years. We're 5 years older. And so we've been kind of put on hold ghostbusting. And in the meantime, New York has become this, this place where a lot of bad vibrations for a lot of years have been building up, and there's this sludge under the city that's threatening the universe. And who are you going to call?
We're the best! We're the beautiful! We're the only Ghostbusters!
It's all very scripted. I mean, it's all very set. So we go into expecting to shoot those pages. However, when you work with somebody like Bill Murray, you realize that things have a tendency to change.
Don't put any of those old cheap moves on me.
No.
It's different.
I have all new cheap moves.
We gotta find the guys.
Besides reprising his role in Ghostbusters, Rick Moranis is hoping the summer of '89 will be his season to shine. He also stars in Universal's Parenthood with Steve Martin and Jason Robards, and stars in the new Disney film, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Diane, I got something real important to tell you.
Are you trying to tell me the machine works? Do the kids know?
Well, yeah, the kids know.
That's great.
It's not that great.
Why?
I shrunk the kids, and the Thompson kids, too. They're about this big. Threw them out with the trash.
What?
They're in the backyard.
Dad can fix us, right, Nick?
Sprinklers on!
So with starring roles in 3 films, this is certainly Rick Moranis' favorite summer, but it must have been a little bit confusing playing all those characters. Still, to even get more confused, he shot one of the movies down at a new studio in Orlando, Florida. No, it wasn't the new Disney MGM studio, it was Universal. Yes, they also have a studio down in Orlando, but they don't have a tour. Well, of course they have a tour, but it's in Hollywood. I think I'm beginning to sound a little bit like Casey Stengel.
I want to give you the first hit.
Jan, that's about as funny as our next movie, See No Evil, Hear No Evil, a Richard Pryor, Gene Wilder film that has already been universally panned by critics. Pryor is blind and Wilder is deaf. Together, they add up to one reliable witness to a murder. Unfortunately, it doesn't add up to a funny premise, despite the presence of these 2 big-name stars.
We'll be back in a moment with a look at the movies your kids will be insisting you take them to this summer, plus a handful of hard-to-categorize and even downright offbeat selections. So stay with us. Films that you'll be hearing about probably endlessly from your kids. Then we'll preview some films that don't quite fit neatly into any of our categories, including this summer's weirdest film. It's an Australian comedy in which Einstein discovered... Good night.
Ground transportation has been provided by Kerry Limousine, who offers chauffeur-driven limousines and sedans in 300 cities, 60 countries on 6 continents. For information and reservations, call 800-336-4646.
Rats. This is it. Look, the shield is the second marker. We found it. Dad? Junior? Don't call me that, please.
Follow me! Out of the way!
And in this sort of race, there's no silver medal for finishing second.
Hang on, Dad! We're going in!
Nazis. I hate these guys.
Our situation has not improved.
This has been a GGP presentation.
A very special kind of magic that's made with a camera.